In this video today, I will show you a very simple fireball animation that we can even use in Final Cut Pro for the iPad. So we are not creating the fireball animation. I will actually use a special effects pack from Big Films. They have a superhero pack, and I just wanted to show you that this even works in Final Cut Pro for the iPad. I have a video here on my channel where I show this in DaVinci Resolve for the iPad, but I got a couple of comments and also people who are a little bit like confused. Can you do the same in Final Cut Pro for the iPad? And yes, you can. Even, and we have to go a little bit back, 2 years now since we have Final Cut Pro for the iPad. When Final Cut Pro launched on the Apple website, they said that Final Cut Pro for the iPad will have third-party plugin support. And they even mentioned Motion VFX as one of the biggest plugin makers out there. But since that time, we still have an official plugin support from third-party plugin makers. So then, why can you use Big Films? Because the difference is, Big Films, all of the animations that they do is not something that you can change. They have a transparent background, and you basically take that transparent background, put it into your editing software, and then just adjust it on the screen, change the speed, whatever you like, and it is already applied. It's super simple. Let me show you what I mean. I have Final Cut Pro here open. I already loaded in one fireball animation, and how it works on my SSD drive, because these files are very large. I have the whole pack for the superheroes on my SSD drive. So I can, for example, come in here, import media, go here to files, go to my external drive, and under plugins, I have the superhero Volume 2, and inside of the Superhero Volume 2 I have a couple of different folders I can choose from. For example, here, fire attacks. The iPad even shows me an image, what kind of fire attack I want. So let's say, for example, if I want something like this one here, I can select that and now say open. So here comes a big difference to the DaVinci Resolve version on iPad. Final Cut Pro, as we see here, every video will be copied to the internal hard drive. Even if I can use an external hard drive to select a clip, it creates a copy internally. So now I have these two in here, and I can simply open them and, for example, preview them. So I have this animation here that goes from the left side here to the right, or I have this animation here that goes from the bottom here to the top. So I prepared a very simple video with my iPhone, just me myself here sitting like this. If you have a sound effect, or I just did it with my mouth, and use this. And what we will do is we will actually use this effect here when it comes from the left side to the right. So we drag and drop this here on the top. And now I have to align these clips. So first of all, we see that the clip is into the opposite direction. It actually comes from left to right. How I will fix this is simply by coming here into the inspector. We can close the media pool for that now. We come here in the inspector, and then I click here. While this clip is selected, I click here on transform settings. Now I have all of these handles here, and I can move this around, and I can even turn this around. So for example, I can turn it around like this. So now it's important that we actually come to the position where my hand starts. So I will put this, I would say here, on that position. So we drag all of this down. So now we only have to get the timing right. So this is too early. So we take this here on my timeline. It is still a little bit too far to the right, so I will come back here into the inspector, transform, and take that one even a little bit like this. The more accurate you are, the better the job, of course, is. And if you add a couple of different effects and camera shakes, you can make this animation look very good. But even now, just with 2 clicks, so if we close the inspector and we replay this one, I have this animation. I got an email from a customer. He said, I want to get the Final Cut Pro iPad Masterclass because you also have 10% off of Big Films and the superhero pack. And then he wrote me, but you were lying. I'm like, what do you mean? I wasn't lying. We don't have third-party plugin support. But if you have a video with transparent background, you can easily load this even here in Final Cut Pro. And then he sent me back a message from Big Films himself, this customer support. He was asking if the Big Film packs actually work on the iPad. And they wrote them that they are not officially supported. So what does this mean? He thinks that I was lying. That's also why I make this video. But it's not true. I think not every iPad is strong. Like this is now the iPad mini with the A17 Pro chip, which can actually run Final Cut Pro with no limitations and even DaVinci Resolve with no limitation. If you have a newer iPad with M1, M2, M4, or even M5, you have a very strong iPad. But because the iPad range is very big, there are iPads when you would try to load this file, it would probably lag. And that, I think, is the reason why a company like Big Films, when the most iPads out there are not handling these files, you just have to say it's not supported. Because if you say it is, and then someone buys it and has an older iPad, yeah, it doesn't really work. But as you see here, even on my iPad mini, I can load these files and I can work with them. And the reason why is because it's not a traditional plugin. It is basically just an overlay with transparent background. And yes, the file size are very big. So if you have a small iPad with only like 265 gigabytes, you will run out of storage very fast. So it's probably more fun to actually use all of these effects on a desktop. But as you could see in this video, they also work on the iPad and they also work in Final Cut Pro for the iPad. Okay, that's it for this video. If you're interested in learning more about Final Cut Pro for the iPad, I have a masterclass from beginner to pro. If you're interested in the big films effects, I think they are just amazing. They have so many amazing packs. There's a link in the description. Definitely check that one out. Or come into the masterclass. You get a 10% discount if you get one of these packs as well. So definitely check that one out. I'm Daniel. I hope you learned something. I hope you found this helpful. See you in the next video. On this channel, it's all about DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro for the iPad. See you soon. Bye.